Today, guys, is going to be a juicy one. Today, guys, we are talking about a hot topic here in the pro peloton in today's professional world of cycling. We're talking about handlebar widths and crank lengths. Now, this is going to be a juicy one, like I said, and the reason for this is because I was in a heated debate, a heating texting match here with one of my really good buddies who just bought a brand new bicycle. And he pulled out the meta card and said he has the best meta right now for bicycling. He got narrow handlebars, a 38 centimeter wide handlebar, and he said, Grant, you have to get a 165 centimeter crank. This is the move. This is what everyone's doing out there. I myself right now, I'm currently running about 42 centimeter bars on all my bikes and also 172.5 cranks. This is what I grew up on. This is what the industry has been pushing on us for so long. This is what we're used to. But now, come to look at the Tour de France and come to look at what pros have been riding now for the past couple years. Everything has shifted, and there's literally no pros riding a 42 centimeter bar anymore. And a lot of these guys are still running 172.5 cranks, but majority of them are starting to switch over to 170 and 165, especially for TT bikes when they're in that more aggressive position. So in today's video, we're going to talk about this because it got me thinking. When I was going back and forth, I'm like, blah, 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 blah. But I have been noticing that when a customer comes into my store, especially when looking at a high-end bicycle, that when I show them an S-Works Tarmac S8, for example, that's a size 56, and it comes with a 42 centimeter bar and 172.5 cranks, that's usually a no-go right off the bat. They're looking to shorten up that bar. And with this forever kind of adapting, trending, fad kind of a bicycle industry here, when you're buying this high-end bicycle with a $600 bar, it's very hard to swap that out. So let's go ahead and take a deep dive in this because more and more people are going to smaller cranks and more people are going to smaller handlebars, and we'll talk about that right now. Now, quick disclaimer. I did go to Specialized for SBCU training for fitting. I took the Fit Course 1, the Fit Course 2 for TT as well, and then I took the third course, which was the Fit for the Retool assessment for the fits on there. And my thing is this. I'm not really big and keen on fits. Obviously, there's a place for it, and they work, and they do really well with it. But my whole thing is you go to 3 really good fitters, the top 3 fitters in the world. You're usually going to get 3 different fits. Everyone has a preference. Everyone's body difference. There's no right and wrong. So whatever really works for that person, works for that person. And when I started doing more and more fits on more and more people, especially with the casual riders, I might do a fit on someone today. They might not ride for 2 months. And that fit night might not apply to how they're living their lifestyle at that point. So they want either a touch-up or a refit for free. So I didn't take the fitting too serious anymore, but I do like discussing it. I myself am more casual and relaxed. I don't ride that often. I get on a bicycle. I do my heel test with my foot, get on the saddle, put my heel on the pedal, and then take a 4mm Allen key with me on the bicycle ride and kind of feel my body. But neither here nor there. A fit is a great tool. It's one of the best things you can do to go ahead and gain speed, get more comfortable. It's really reliable. Just go ahead and go to someone you feel comfortable with who has a bunch of credibility behind them and just give it a shot. So let's go ahead and take a look. This is from the Pro Peloton coming up. And what I can tell you about most customers that come into my store, usually especially the high-end customers that are looking at these bicycles, they are typically watching what is going on in the Pro Peloton. They want to have where the pros are riding. They want to have the winning formula. So now we are seeing these pros ride these crazy narrow bars, 36 centimeters, 38 centimeters. And like I mentioned before, the biggest handlebar that was actually on the Pro Peloton this year was a 40 centimeter bar, which was on Matthew Van Der Poel's. Last year's was 42. This is now 40 centimeters. So it's crazy to see that they're going smaller and smaller. Now there's a reason for this. Because of the fact that it is a smaller bar, they are more tucked in and more aerodynamic for an overall longer length of that ride. Now, back in the day where this wider bar came about, which I'll show you guys in a second here, this is Mr. Tom Boonen, one of my favorite overall riders back in the day. Used to dominate the Paris-Roubaix, really strong ride for Specialized. And we also have over here Alberto Contador for Specialized as well. Now, during my SBCU classes, when I first took the first one, they really did preach a wider handlebar. That's what came stock on the normal bikes. And that's why even my brother rides a 44 centimeter today is because he's so used to it. And when I started off as well, I was riding a 44 centimeter as well. They used to always say a wider handlebar will give you a better breathing cavity. So when you're riding, you're able to expand your chest and your breathing and your lungs and all that, be able to get more air. And they also said because of that wider bar, you have better leverage for climbing and also sprinting. But over time, they obviously realized that those are small kind of parts of the race. Whereas when you come down to it now, you want overall length and the bigger distance whenever you're riding in the saddle for long periods of time. That aero benefit being tucked in there is going to outweigh the leverage and the sprinting and climbing and also the better breathing cavity because you can adapt to that. We have over here Tom Boonen on his Specialized S-Works Roubaix SL4. This article was written in 2012. Mr. Tom Boonen, I think he was riding a 56 centimeter bike. He was on a 46 centimeter handlebar and went down to a 44 centimeter handlebar. So he adapted the whole fit phrase of 46 centimeter. This was back when Specialized was the body geometry fit. Alberto Contador was on a size 52 centimeter bike and was running a 42 centimeter bar. So this is not crazy. This is what the pros were riding back in the day, a very wide handlebar for whatever bike size they were doing. This is typical bicycle industry stuff. Usually a fad comes along, a trend comes along, people jump on board, and that's what it is. This brings me to my question of this video. Are bicycle industries or are bicycle manufacturers going to have to change the stock geometry to complete bicycles? I'm not saying handlebar widths and stuff like that. I'm saying like a complete size run. What I mean by that is we have here, just again for example, Specialized Tarmac S-Works SL8 they just released. Let's go down to the geometry list right here. This was all the old norm. Crank length 172.5 for 56, handlebar width 420, stem length 100. For a 54, size medium, 172.5 crank arm length, handlebar width 420 millimeter, again a 42 centimeter, stem length 100. Immediately when I sell a 54 centimeter bike, or when I have someone who's spending $14,000 and they're looking at getting a one-piece cockpit that's a $600 bar and stem, it's not like back in the old days where I could just swap out a handlebar and external cables. When someone's looking at this bicycle and they want to get a fit done on it as well, no one's getting a 54 who's a size medium and wants a 42 centimeter bar. They want the 40s, they want the 38s, they want the 36. So I'm getting asked this question way more than I used to, and I'm seeing more people buy frames and building up these bicycles how they want with their cockpit so they don't have to spend twice the amount of money on it, than I actually see people buying these complete bikes. And very rarely do I see people ever want a 175 or even 44. A 44 centimeter bar and a 58 is unheard of nowadays. And majority of people who are buying the 58 for me, they want me to immediately swap out the cranks for 172.5, and they want me to swap out the handlebars to a 42 at least. And same goes for the 44 as well. Immediately they want a 170 crank arm, if not a 165, and immediately they want a 38 or a 40 centimeter bar. And this is also stats to bring up right here. This is the handlebar Revolve Rapide handlebar here. And again, I use Specialized because it's a reference. But this handlebar came out and it's been impossible to get. These smaller sizes, the 380s, the 400s are impossible to get. As soon as they come in stock, they go right out of stock again. This size, which is a stock handlebar size for a 58, and all the 58 frames that are sold out, is in stock. 110 by 44 centimeters. They can't get rid of this thing. People do run it. People do enjoy it. It works for some people. But it is a very uncommon size, I would say, nowadays. So that is my take on that. So will we see in the future these big name bicycle brands start changing these geometries? What will get to a point where maybe they see a lackluster of sales of complete bicycles? Because retailers aren't going to take the hit for this. So you're telling me a customer who buys a $14,000 bike is going to have to shell out another $600? Maybe if someone buys a $14,000 bike, they should get a trade-in credit voucher where they can reach in contact, where I can take that credit, send it back to Specialized, get a credit for a different handlebar size in there. Because anyone who's buying a $14,000 bike is usually heavily invested into the sport. They're seeing what the pros are riding. They want to be the Pogacar riding a 38 centimeter bar, 36 wide bar. They want to be the Wout van Aerts running a 40 centimeter bar. They want to be a Remco running a 38 centimeter bar. They want to be these smaller handlebar sizes. They want to be the most aero and get the most optimal out of there. So when will we see these people do it? And Trek, which I was talking to my buddy Joe at China Cycling, and he mentioned a good point of this. He said that Trek came out with their new handlebar for their Madone, and they spec their bicycles with a smaller width bar. And by doing this with a smaller width bar in the wind tunnel, it was actually able to shave off some seconds And that's why they can claim that this bicycle is going to be more aero because the handlebar width is more narrower. So when will we see these companies go ahead and start making this smaller handlebar widths and everything like that? Brings me to my second point of the crank arm, which we had in the conversation, the 165 millimeter, which is huge. All right, so now we get into the crank arm length debate. Now again, I am a huge advocate in that everyone is different, there's a different preference, and everyone should have their own kind of go-to. We're seeing more and more people run a 165 millimeter crank. I think Remco even went from a 170 to a 165. They kind of hinted at, but they didn't confirm it. Especially in those TT situations because of the fact that, like I said, they're rotating their hips more and they make it a little bit more comfortable and more aerodynamic to relax the hip angle as well in that position. But being in the position I am where I sell a lot of these bicycles, and even when I sell this high-end stuff like SRM power meter cranks, where you can actually change out crank arm length on the go while getting fitted and being on a test bike, I get a lot of feedback from customers, crit racers, fast guys on group rides. Literally, I'll have two different people riding, and they'll be in the same race. Let's just call it category 1 to make it easy. There'll be two category 1 guys riding. One guy will have 172.5 cranks and just say this is the best, this is what he's used to, and this is what he's always done. Then we'll have rider number 2 that will say that he just swapped to 165 and this is the meta. They're both respectable in their course and they're both respectable in terms of speed, but you have two guys who literally think that their way of riding is the best. So, what's my camera doing? So again, that's why I think it really does come down to preference in this matter, and that there is no right and wrong answer. But whenever we typically see us as consumers, us as fans, us as passionate people of sport, see Pogacar riding smaller cranks, or Jonas Vingegaard riding smaller cranks, or Remco riding smaller cranks, we are going to want to follow suit to that as well. So we want to see whatever advantage they're getting going to that. 165 to me seems crazy, but even like right here, when me and my buddy were going back and forth, really yelling, he goes, look, check this out. NorCal just posted a new video. He said literally, he posted a video 14 hours ago. He's posting his video.
More clearance. That's why I always advocate for shorter cranks. I'm changing to 165, and I'm getting into a topic I actually don't.
He's gonna make a video up on this, and he's a very respectable rider, and he rides way more than I do, and he rides races. But basically saying that he's running a course where it has sharp turns, where you can pedal through the corners, and it'll make more sense to him to have the smaller crank arm lengths. And I'm sure there's gonna be power data backed up as well. But I guess apparently, and there's a bunch of comments down here to go and back up as well. For what I'm riding, for how I'm doing, for me riding a straight line, 172.5 has always been kind of the norm for size 56. But my buddy swears I should try his 165s because I'm not the most flexible on there. So if this becomes a norm and we see more pros riding this, and we see more people riding this, will these bicycle industry people also go about and make these the norm? Maybe get rid of the 175 crank arms for 58s. Maybe make it 172.5 for 58, 170 for 56, 165 for 54, 165 for 52, you know? At what point does it make it to a point where it needs to be an option for these people to spend this kind of money? Because if you're spending $14,000, you immediately want to change out your power meter crank and a $600 bar, it's more money on top of the consumer. So I don't know. But that was just my take on this, and I like talking fits because there's so much variables there. And I could talk about it it's hard to talk to a camera to a bunch of people, but I literally spent 30 minutes, 40 minutes, you know, those heated debates where you're talking to your buddy, you want to like where you're like, oh my God, I just want text, and your wife's like, what are you doing? I'm like, just leave me alone, I'm in a heated debate. And she's like, watch a movie. I'm like, I can't right now because I'm literally yelling at my friend, and I just want to call him, but he doesn't pick up, and then he calls me back, but I'm doing something, and I leave my voice on, I'm like, you're an idiot. You know, like those debates. So I don't know, but I'm excited to see what happens in the future because I took the plunge and I ordered a smaller bar, and he called me a biter for it. I'm going to a 38 centimeter bar. So I'll be trying this out myself. This is the first time I came off of a 42 centimeter bar in over 10 years. I'm going to try the fad of a 38 centimeter bar. We're going to see how this goes because I did ride his Athos around for a second and I did enjoy it. I didn't really notice the cranks because I wasn't paying attention, but the bars felt comfortable as they were. He also pitched them in like Remco because he's a fanboy. But I'm excited to see what happens. But anyways, guys, let me know what you guys think down below. Do you think the smaller cranks is the meta right now? Or do you think, and also do you think that the smaller handlebars are the meta? We're seeing winning results by pros right now. But back in the day, we were seeing winning results in pros as that. So what's going to change? Are they going to come out with even smaller? And how small is too small? Does it get to 145 where that's way too small? You know, like when does it get better? So you guys let me know down below in the comment section. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.